All right. Hey, how's it? Well, we'll do that another time. Anyway, hey, we're back. Number four, Mulligan Stew. We're on the fourth, the tragic gesture. So, if you got through the first three chapters, this fourth chapter is probably like the best chapter. It's pretty much the wildest chapter. It's kind of like what this book hopefully gets to, and it gets to a lot in this chapter. So let's go through it. Okay, so it starts out the fourth chapter, the tragic gesture. It starts out with this sort of Western styled memoir of he was born in Sunburn, California in 1929. It's like this depression story. Uh, the I guess the novel is Anthony Lamont's telling the backstory of Martin Halperin. It doesn't, the first chapter, the first one they were in a house where he thought he murdered the guy, and then the second one was what was going on? Yeah, the first. Yeah, this the second one he's kind of obsessing over the blue sky. The third one they're in the restaurant, and then this fourth one it totally changes. It goes back in time, and now we're in a kind of a Western memoir, and they kind of talk about in the thing at the end of it. They talk is how Halperin and Ned Beaumont. They mention a few times like they're in a business together, but they don't say what it is, But we find out that it's a clipping service, and their greatest achievement is a list of phrases that the people would use in rejection letters, like a boilerplate. So there's like a big long list of which are a lot like the um, rejection letters that are the 17 rejection letters at the beginning of the book. The main character as a main character is very good, not quite believable. Although our first reader book never quite engages, curious lack of emotion. So that there's a 50 of these boilerplate kind of phrases for rejection slips that people use. But this is, I mean, this is an interesting chapter. I don't know if it's an interesting novel, but it it seems like it seems like an interesting thing. So you go, and then we get to Lamont's scrapbook. There's some more questions and answers, very much like in the previous style of the writer's help book, where he's just talking about, it's like asking questions and you're supposed to fill in the blank. And then we get to Halperin's journal, where he's complaining about the book, um, calling Lamont a very bad writer. They're just kind of nervous what's going to happen in the next chapter, and they call this part of the book a flashback, and so at the end of Halperin's journal, he talks that Ned has found pages of type sheets containing reviews of Lamont's 4 published novels, and they can't believe he's written 4 novels before this. So, yeah, I mean, this is just great. Okay, so a lot of these. So we have a few pages of like reviews of Baltimore Chop. This is what's this? Yeah, Baltimore Chop, Three Deuces, Rayon Violet, and Fretwork. And there's a little notes in the margin, and they could be written by Lamont himself, and they're sort of insults or racial insults. Like, let's see, what does he call? He calls somebody the spick or something. Someone else he calls a cracker. It's pretty harsh, but it gets really complex. Okay, so they're making fun of reviews in this chapter. They're making fun of like this kind of Western style, kind of like California and this kind of religious upbringing. He kind of calls his mother an Okie or something, and then there's kind of a return to the rejection letters and the source of all of them, and then this is followed by another letter to Sheila, and he's congratulating her and Dermo. I'm not sure what's happened here, but he's like, he decides to send her chapter 5 of the novel, not sending the first 4 chapters. He sends chapter 5 as if it's going to explain everything. And then he also sends her an essay that he wrote when he was in elementary school called "What I Can Do to Help the War Effort." And it's basically, he's talking about World War II here, because he's talking about the Nazis and the Japanese, and it's all these sort of things that I guess it's kind of a parody of like some kind of like things that people were trying to get them all hyped up for the war effort or whatever, because it was a good thing. And so it's kind of a long essay. Keep these things to yourself and you will help keep democracy alive. So he's kind of pumping it up a little bit. So there's the elementary school. The next chapter looks pretty funny too. It's getting more complicated and complex as we go along. The first I think this was definitely the funniest chapter so far. I enjoyed the reviews section, and the story was kind of itself was kind of shocking because it was a little bit more better written, but why he has to go back and tell his whole story is kind of weird. But so we're up to page 100 in Mulligan Stew. We're up chapter 5, and let me show you. Here's all my notes and stuff. And as I said in the previous one, this book was written at the same time as Splendid Hotel, which could have been part of it. If you don't want to read Mulligan Stew, just read Splendid Hotel. You could read this in like 1 hour, and it's available from New Directions and Donkey Archive Press. You can find it, and you can probably find a used copy for $5 or $10 somewhere, some used bookstore. And also, I'm going to show you. I thought this was a lot longer, but Sorrentino, Black Sparrow Press is a, mostly known for publishing Bukowski, but they also published a lot of Sorrentino, and they published, like they took this out. This is one of the things that Barney wanted to take out of Mulligan Stew. Let's see, there we go. It's a little bit, you can see flawlessly restored, a mask of fungo. And so this is part of chapter 7. So I'm looking forward to reading this. I haven't read it in a long time. So yeah, these are all the books. So this is basically what he was working on in the 70s, 71 to 75. Mulligan Stew, and Splendid Hotel, and A Massive Hunger, which is also. And I have the next book he worked on was Crystal Vision, which I have right behind me here, like right there. Maybe I'll show you in the next one. Okay, so let me put and let me just remind you, like the book